Zandie Nation. Okay, we never call you guys that, but I just thought,
But they know.
we might as well. I actually used it a lot in our comments.
Yes, yeah.
Responding to the comments. Hi, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart Conversations with the Darlingtons. Yes, you guys. Okay.
Whatever.
I didn't know we were doing that. But you guys, this week we have amazing people. I feel we have an amazing story to share. We go to church with these people. I didn't even know that we actually went to Zandie and my husband actually went to church together from way back in the families know each other and stuff like that. I didn't know that. I found that out today only. But yeah, we go to the same church. Zandie and Phenyo are amazing people, guys. And we have them on our channel today.
Give it up, everybody.
Mama, I made it.
So, I think you guys are interesting people, ne?
Yes.
Okay.
And part of the reason why I think so is because you guys even look alike. Are you aware of that, babe?
I agree.
You guys literally even look like siblings.
Yes.
And
yes.
and I think that's when like the bond is like this tight. You know, so
Do you know
That's
actually
really-
people started telling us that the moment we started dating. It was not even a thing of like after you guys were dating for like a year or two. From the get-go.
From the get-go.
So
This is
we
meant
are
to be
used
vibes.
to it.
meant to be vibes.
Yeah, sure.
Now, thank you guys for being here, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
Thank you
me.
for
Thank you guys
having
for being
us.
here. Looking forward to an amazing conversation, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, so the idea is just to get to know you guys a bit more and just find out about your love story, where it began, and you know what it was like. You know, what did Phenyo do? You know what I'm saying? And obviously now you guys are parents to an amazing baby girl. My wife thinks you guys have the most gorgeous baby girls.
thank you,
Every
guys.
time I
You know,
see,
she says
Thank
every
you.
time I see
all the
something,
time. You know?
Yeah.
So we just want to unpack these stories and just have a conversation about these and just find out where this began and how is it going and
Sure.
you know everything else in between.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's tell our stories.
Yeah. So there's Zandie and this. How old were you guys when you guys met?
When we met, we were 24. When we started dating, we were 25.
Are you guys the same age?
Exactly
Yeah, we're same age.
Wow.
He's
Yeah.
2 months older than me.
Wow.
2 months, yeah.
2 months.
Yeah.
Yes. But I always when he turns like a year older, I always say like, oh my goodness, you're so old. I'm so young. I'm a child bride. That time 2 months later, it's
It's
me.
her turn.
So-
Yeah.
yeah.
There was
Interesting.
Zandie and there was Phenyo. Who were you guys before you guys met?
Yeah.
You go
Okay.
first.
Right.
I want to know like where you guys are from as well, like background, the whole
Oh, the
shebang.
whole shebang.
Yeah.
Are you
Okay,
sure?
what time is it? I'm kidding.
Let's get
Sorry,
comfortable.
I think my biggest interest is in the personalities because Zandie is so bold, so loud.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's so shit like,
Yeah.
and then Phenyo is very like to himself.
Yeah, Peter, you like me. You like me. I think you're the guy that doesn't work in spaces and you're everywhere, talking to everyone and stuff like that.
I
Eh?
try not to. Sometimes it happens, but I try not to.
I think you're not
I prefer
like me.
not to.
Yeah, then you're not like me
It's
at
just
all.
sometimes, you know, because of the environment you find yourself in.
Yeah.
Especially because of work.
Sure,
And I
sure,
have to
sure,
be
sure,
like,
yeah.
and we spoke about it yesterday, but you know what? I digress. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I feel like I'm doing an intro for a team meeting or something. Okay,
My name is Phenyo.
Yeah, my name is Phenyo. I'm not Phenyo Rakhs, I'm Motswana. It's one of Rustenburg. Right? I was born and bred in Rustenburg. I came to the Free State for school. Came to Bloem, to UOFs, studied here. Afterwards, I continued staying here, but I went to live since I was Bangkok. I was working those sides. And then, met her. I got this to do with us. I'm not going to tell all the in-betweens.
Yeah.
No,
Met
but
her.
they said you. Wait,
Yeah.
nah, you were not anybody else.
Yeah, so
you,
before
before
so
me.
before you, that was my life basically. That was just a summary. I'm kidding. Yeah. So then I met her. Did our thing.
Did you guys meet in school?
Yes, no, yes.
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I will get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I work in the mining industry. I do environmental things. Can't go too much into that. You know, nowadays you get in trouble for saying too much about the job. Yeah, man. And we live in Bloem now. Yeah, I think that's about it. You guys want to know my age? Is that important?
Nah.
Okay.
So wanna tell it?
Yeah, that's cool. I'm 33.
Alright, cool.
33, 34.
Nice.
Yeah.
Baby.
32, 33.
Oh, 33 this year.
33 this year.
Alright, cool.
You know what? You know what? I always make a mental note at the beginning of the year of, okay, this is the year, I'm turning this year. I programmed so much that for the 33.
It's fine if you want to be 34.
Nah, that's okay.
It's okay.
32 going on 33.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so me, I was born Zandie Lesibini. I'm pure Xhosa, no mix, no nothing, just Xhosa.
The Eastern Cape.
No, sort of, kind of.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Welkom.
Ah.
My parents, both of them, are from Eastern Cape, but my dad was working in the mining industry in Welkom, so that's how we ended up in Welkom. And I was born there, I was raised there, did my primary, my high school there, but then we moved to Carltonville as well. Stayed there for a while, then moved to
Carltonville
area in Gauteng, Northwest.
Oh, yeah.
There was a bit of a
West Rand.
thing there, but it's in the West Rand. Stayed in Western area for a bit, or rather Glenhaby for a bit. Then I moved to Bloemfontein 2010 to come and do my first year. And I've basically been in Bloem since then. I've basically been in Bloem since 2010, my goodness. Yeah.
Why did I think Zandie was always a Bloem kid? I don't know
well,
why.
please.
Yeah.
No offense to Bloem people, but like,
It's taken.
sorry. Then I stayed in Welkom again for like a few years, staying with my sister and her then husband. What else must I say about myself? I don't know. Okay. But then, you know what, ne? People always think that I'm an extrovert, and I'm not.
I think so too.
I really am not.
Are you not?
I really am not. I've always kept to myself, and
But you're just generally very nice.
I am a
Very
friendly
nice
person.
and
Yes,
friendly,
I'm very
yeah.
friendly. I love people, and I love getting to know people, meeting new people, and all of that. That's my vibe. But I don't necessarily really enjoy being outside with humans much. I prefer being in the house and all of that. So, that's how that is. And then right now, I work at the university. Should I say? Yeah, man, keep Bloemfontein. There's only two.
Yeah.
And I'd rather. Yes, I work at UFS.
Yeah.
I am an academic advisor and also a project coordinator. But I'm 31. I'm 31. I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I'm a young girl, so
I'm a dad, by the way.
he's 34. So you know,
Oh, he's
you know.
How
So that's
did Zandie and Phenyo meet?
the reason of this.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Now
Before we
go on
there.
and lie.
No, that's not a lie. This is very important. This is always very important. I always have to share this story before we continue to the apparently official story.
No, that's the official story. Yours is the apparently official story.
I think
There are always two versions.
between
Always two
the
versions.
ladies and the gents, there's just always something happening there. So
So,
Mara, his version
so
though.
let me tell you guys.
But the ladies are always, we know the truth.
You know,
Wow.
thank
you guys
you.
are always right.
Yes,
we are always right.
Come on,
You guys will.
we're the initiators of these things, guys.
You'll
Are
tell,
you
you'll tell me the
though?
verdict after you hear. I won't even. There's no need. You guys will tell us the verdict. So it was lovely, sunny day on campus.
Already.
Yeah. And then my roommate was her friend. Right?
So this is UFS now.
Yeah.
Yes, it
My roommate was her friend. She was on campus, and then in the morning, I think who were we going? I think we were going to the gym.
You were coming back
We
from.
were coming back from the gym. Yeah, we were coming back from the gym. And then we bumped into her. I'd never seen her before this time. And then she's like, "Hey, man." And they chat. I'm standing like,
So she knows the guy you're with.
"Hey, she doesn't know me. I don't know."
He's a mutual friend
Sorry.
of ours.
Oh.
Hey, I don't know her. And I'm just standing there like, all right. Okay.
Tell them what you were saying.
Discussing it
All right,
out.
what about?
And
That it
I-
was not about me.
And I thought, wow, she has really beautiful eyebrows.
Wow.
Like,
I know.
Very interesting.
it was not the face, it was not the body,
Descriptive,
it
eh?
was the eyebrows.
Obviously, it's all in, in concert with each other. So yeah, and then they introduced like, was it? No, that was the introduction that day. Ne? No, there wasn't.
No, he did say this is my friend, whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
and-
And then.
But he was just a blob.
Yeah, it was just like that, and then that was it. And then from there, we started seeing her again every now and then.
So now the real story.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, that did happen, but it wasn't our official meeting or whatever. Because the way it was, I was going to class. They were coming back from the gym, sweaty and whatever. And my friend is like, oh, by the way, this is my friend Pen. I'm like, oh, okay, hi, how are you? Okay, sharp. We continued. Then I continued conversation with my friend. I was like, okay, guys, I need to go because I'm going to class.
Yeah.
And that's literally how it was. So for me, that does not count as a meeting because after that, I never saw you again. I don't know who you is. But
So you guys don't know that you're from the same church.
we don't know we're
this
from the
time.
same church. We don't
Okay.
know that we have so many mutual friends. Like a lot of mutual friends. There were
Okay.
so many opportunities where we could have met. There's literally a time that we're at Odeon
Oh,
at a
yeah.
concert. I came in with one of our friends and he says that he saw me coming in with him and he was looking at, he's like, who's that girl? Who's he with? And I'm like, we could have possibly met, but God was just like, he's not ready for her.
At the time, yeah.
It's not the
yeah.
time, you know. So then I remember I went to visit my friend at their race, and their race is sort of like a house. And he decided, my friend, he decided that he's gonna introduce me to each and every single person in that house. Like we went literally in everyone's room. Hey Zandie, this is Mang Mang Le Mang Mang. Oh, okay, hi. Hey Zandie, how you doing? Oh, literally that's how everyone was like, oh yeah, ooh, and it's all guys. Then we get to their room because they were roommates. We get to their room. Zandie, this is Phenyo. Phenyo, this is Zandie. I don't know what he was doing. I think he was getting ready for class or something. And then he looks up, he looks at me, oh, hi. Continues on with his I was like, excuse me? Rude.
Did you
Like,
see me?
so rude. Did you not see all of this? You know, I'm like, what's wrong with you? And
Were you feeling anything at the time?
I didn't know him.
So it was just.
But
a
I just felt
random
like he was
one
such a
of
rude
people.
guy.
Wait, so this is before that time?
It was after that time, but
Oh.
like
What
I,
about me?
he was a
basically?
blob
Okay.
just standing there. Because
Okay.
at that time I was talking to my friend. So why must I
was
now be looking at you?
insignificant, basically.
So anyway, then I was like, so that's how we met. And I remember how that for me, it stuck out so much that every time I'd visiting my friend, I'd just be like, so where's your roommate? I know he's what I'm like, okay, so what's the guy's deal? Tell me about him.
He was that
But like
rude.
not yet,
Yeah.
you know. But it's an interesting story, that one. But I was just like, yeah, this guy, he's so rude. Like, what's his story? What's his life? You know, what does he do? Why is he never here? He doesn't even stay here anyway. And my friend was just like, no man, he's fine. Does he have a girlfriend? Because oh my goodness, he's so rude. I don't know his life.
Yeah.
But I was just asking questions. Can't you know something was brewing?
Yeah. God was up to something.
You know, God was up to something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's how we made it.
Yeah, that's how we.
Yeah.
So now, how did you guys move from that to okay? I actually like this girl.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pursue this girl.
Okay, you can
and
start
to,
that one.
He's actually not that bad. A
Well,
bit of a process.
it was a long one.
Okay.
Okay, so we met 2014, just before my birthday, and then 2015, no, 2014. Oh, then there was. So yeah, 2014. Okay, after my birthday, after October, then I remember. I don't know if you guys remember that time when there were these memes going around about hashtag not Senzo's dad. I don't know if you know that.
I remember something like that, but I can't remember the details.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
people either out of their cars or whatever doing
Yeah,
this.
I was out, you know.
It was a thing,
Yeah,
you know.
it was a thing.
And so now so I usually would visit my friend a lot, you know, because I didn't really have that many friends, and I mostly hung out with people that I felt like, okay, you know, I'm happy here and I'm comfortable. So anyway, I went to hang out with them, and he was also there, and we were all hanging out with the whole house now, and we're chilling, and then we're talking about now these memes. And I remember I was like, okay, nobody has shown this meme. I must show this meme because this meme is exciting, you know? Because it's a baby in a stroller thingamabob, and she's like, you know, so I thought it was cute, and I was like, it's funny. So I'm like, okay, guys, have you seen this meme? And then they look at it, everyone is laughing. Then Phenyo, the phone gets to him, he's like, oh, wow, my goodness, it's so funny. Can you please send me this? Me, I'm like, first of all, you know, I'm like, one, we've never spoken before. Two, obviously I don't have your number, so how am I gonna, you know? I was like, okay, I'll send it to our friend, and then he will send it to you. And then he says, that's too much admin. Just take my number and then you send it to me. That way it's direct. Me, not thinking nothing. Take the number, Kantimo guy. You know, he was very slick. So
I was they saying Xhosa,
I was there.
and that's how he ended up having my number. Did he do anything with it? No. It just chilled in his phone for like the longest time. And then towards the end of 2014, I remember I friended him on Facebook. And then 2015, I moved back to Valco. And that's when he also moved to that side. But he was staying in Virginia. And this one time, I needed to come to Bloem. Okay, before that though, we had started talking every now and again. The thing is, I'm a storyteller, but I'm trying to not be too much of a storyteller. Otherwise, we are here until nighttime. You know? Yes. So, okay, so we had been chatting every now and again. Actually, I would check up on him more than he would chat to me. And then I would text him I would text him like maybe at like 10 in the morning. He will respond at 3. And like nothing happened. I'm just like, that time he's the one who asked for my number, right?
What was the strategy here?
No, Phenyo will tell us because he clearly doesn't agree with that.
Now, let me tell you. Okay.
It's my 10.
Okay, fine.
So then, so every now and again we'd talk, we'd chat and whatnot, you know? And then I remember he bought his first car. Sends me a picture, like, yeah, I bought a car, like, oh my goodness. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so proud of you, happy for you. It's amazing, because I'm like, he's my friend. I'm happy for him, I'm proud of him. This is a huge thing, and it's an achievement. And he still is like, I sent you the car. Really? I'm like,
I don't remember. I'm like, why would I send you that? No, I wasn't doing those kind of things.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
He really did.
I really didn't.
Yeah. And then, so now back to that part. I needed to come to Bloem for one of my friends, actually Zoe's godmother's graduation party. And then I needed a lift, but I didn't know who to ask. So then I asked our mutual friend, I'm like, yo, do you know anyone who's coming from Valcom going to Bloem this weekend? But like before Saturday, maybe like on Friday or something. And he's like, oh yeah, Phenyo, he usually comes to Bloem over the weekend, so maybe we can ask him. I'm like, yo, okay. So one thing you need to know about me, I don't like asking for things. And I'd rather suffer than ask. Because I'm always just like, I don't want to burden people, you know? So I'm like, yo, dude, no ways, I'm not gonna ask him that. I mean, sure, you know,
everybody.
Why did it have to be that guy?
Like, I'm like, now he's gonna be like, oh, I sent you a picture of my car. That's suddenly you want, you know? So, but then he was like, nah, he's not gonna do none of that. He's chill. Just ask him. I'm like, can you ask him? And he's like, no, you must ask him. I'm like, okay, fine. So then I asked him, and then he was like, yeah, I am going to Bloem, but I'm leaving. I think it said Saturday morning.
Was that?
It's the one where you suddenly out of nowhere changed and you were like,
oh yeah.
He was leaving Saturday morning. Yes. And I was like, no, it's fine. Saturday morning works for me. We can do that. Then Friday night, suddenly things change. He needs to leave immediately. I'm like, okay. He calls me. Actually, he had forgotten me. He left. Now I remember. He left. He was on his way to Bloem, and he's like, heck, that girl.
I'm so interested to hear his side of the story.
He's like, oh, that girl, Kahana. And then he calls me, he's like, yo, listen, so like, I had an emergency. I have to go to Bloem. I don't know if you want to go with me now or what, but yeah, I have to go tonight. Me, I'm like, well, I don't have the money to go to Bloem. Yeah, no, I'm going to go with you. I'm like, no, it's fine. I'll go with you. You can come get me. And then I feel like on the inside, he was like, no.
No.
It's okay if you did.
No.
You changed now. You're a good man.
Wow.
Yeah, so then he came to pick me up, and it was actually a very, it kind of changed how I saw him. So he came to pick me up, and so in as much as I love talking and sharing my story and whatnot with people, but I was not always this comfortable to just share, especially with guys, especially if I'm not used to you in that way. But for some weird reason, I was just so comfortable with this guy.
Yeah.
And one of my friend back then, he used to say to me, you know, you are so protective of yourself that when you sit, you cross your legs, you cross your arms every time. And it's like you're protecting yourself from being open or whatever. And I remember noticing that I was sitting with my legs open and I was just like, you know, I was very comfortable, you know. And listen, I told this guy my life story from the beginning to the end. And I remember he once said to me, he was like, I was just like, oh, this girl, okay, you can talk, eh? Like, you can talk, hey? Yeah. But yeah, I shared that, like a story about, like, you know, relationships and how I've been struggling these past few years and all these things, you know, about like trying to get back into school and whatnot. And he was just listening, you know. And that was something that I wasn't really used to, especially from like guy friends. But he was just listening, and he was actually actively listening, not just like, but he was asking questions, he was following up, you know, those kind of things. And I really enjoyed that. And that's how we actually began traveling together all the time. And we got closer and closer, but we're still just friends. Like the whole time, we're just friends. We only started dating in October of 2015. So this is beginning of 2015. So that whole time we traveled together to come to Bloem, but not every single weekend, but whenever I needed to come.
What are you guys coming to do in Bloem?
He was coming for church, I was coming for other things.
Coming for a nice time.
Yeah, actually.
No, I'm joking.
You were coming for next time. Nice time with his friends from church. But like, was it not nice time?
It was, but you know what I meant.
But you were living it up.
It was fun times.
Yeah.
It was fun times.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I was not in the streets. I had left the streets. Yeah, I had left the streets. But I was coming mostly for friends and church. Yeah. And we had a lot of things going on.
So for me, it was mostly friends. But like, whenever I would come, it would like maybe a friend is having something, and I'll be like, of course I want to be there. Yo, you're going to Bloem this weekend, can I go with you? Yeah, sure, no problem. And then he never wanted me to pay. So I just be like, it's fine, I'll just pay the toll gate to pay. Let's do that. At least I know I'm paying and I don't feel like I owe you anything, you know? And that's how like our story started, you know? Every time we'd travel together, we'd have conversations and whatnot. And then there was one time this guy forgot me basically at a taxi rank.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, there's no way I'm going to, you know, like this guy in that way. I don't think he's a good friend, sure, whatever, but not for boyfriend or relationship. I cannot, because how do you forget someone at a taxi rank? I'm waiting for you here. You're not communicating. You're not saying nothing.
Oh my gosh.
So you can
losing points.
You know, losing points like this. And then I was just like, no. And then I asked one of our mutual friends, I was like, so tell me about Phenyo. What's his story? Like, does he have a girlfriend? You know, what is going on there? And I was like, oh man, you know, he's living his life. He's young, he's single. But and he did say that he's a good guy and whatever. And I was just like, yeah, but you know, he still let me sit out there at a taxi rank, and there was all these random men who were just like creepy. So no.
Did he come eventually?
Yes, he did. He was at work and he had to come pick me up, and I was like, no, you know what, let me make it easier for you. Let me come to Virginia. So you'll get me at the taxi rank. He knocks off at, what time were you knocking off at that time? Like 3 o'clock, 3:30? Yeah, 3:30, you know. And he said, okay, I'll come get you. So I'll be there around like Boma 2-4. Motu 2-4, nobody's saying anything. I'm just like, did this guy forget that
Supposed to.
You know, I text him, no response. I'm like, yo,
Which
I am
one is
stuck
this
in
one?
Virginia at a taxi rank. But then he eventually did show up and he did apologize. But he didn't apologize with the thing of like, I am so sorry, I did a bad thing. He was just apologizing for, I made you wait. That's it. Like, yeah, ish aski sikilata, sorry for not saying anything, but it was not real.
Okay.
Phenyo, your turn.
Listen.
Your turn. Please answer
Yeah.
for all of these things.
Because you know all of these things, hey, because I get all these things.
Please.
And we are still so far from dating, hey?
Yeah.
Because I was just like,
Okay.
There was no interest at all at this point from your side.
obviously every now and again I'd be like, okay, he's a nice guy. But then there'll be something that happens and I'm just
You're
like,
like, no, I take that
I was like,
back.
Jesus, I am not trying to find
man.
myself in that place again.
Yeah.
So no, it's okay. I'll be fine with just being friends with him.
Friends, okay.
But then the mutual friend, the time we went to the Freshly Ground show, guys, this guy made us sit behind the sound box.
Of course.
And the whole time he was there by the sound box, he didn't care. He invited me to a show that he didn't even watch. He was watching the sound box.
I heard everything.
I'm like, this guy, you see what I mean? Like, he just kept losing.
Minus 10
Then
all
our
the
friend
time.
Kantiana, he was just talking him up. He's like, you know, Zandie, I have a present for you. I'm like, okay, who's this guy? He's like, yeah.
It's the same guy?
Yes.
The same friend?
Not the one who introduced
Oh,
us,
okay,
but the
okay.
one who I went to the Odeon show
Ah.
with. Yes. He's like, yeah, I have a friend of mine that I think you will like. He's a good guy and he has a car. And now the reason he said that was because I used to walk literally everywhere. I would walk from Navelsurg to go to campus at UFA. So I literally would walk everywhere. And you'd be like, why are you walking, bro? I'm like, yeah, but I don't have the money. So, you know, and I need to get there. So I'm going to walk. So he was like, yeah, he has a car. So you're not going to have to walk anymore. I was like, okay. And I knew exactly what he was talking about, Phenyo. But I was just like, I'm going to pretend like I don't know who you're talking about. I'm like, okay, who's this guy? He's like, you'll know in time. I'm like, okay, cool. And to this day, he still said, and I had to say that because, you know, it's important.
Very
Shout out
important.
to you.
Shout out to you.
It's important. He's like,
Shout out.
you know, you guys are here because of me. Okay. Yeah, so that kind of made me be more open to any prospect of a relationship with this guy because every time I would just be like, Jesus, no.
Yeah.
So, nah, the story is correct, nah. And just to explain, just to explain, I was not the most well-rounded individual back then.
True.
I was very rough around the edges. You know, my personality type was not the most considerate, especially back then. So I don't know things you tell me about. I'd be like, huh? What do you mean?
How's that a problem?
How's that a problem? Oh, you're fine, boss.
You're too sensitive.
So a lot of those moments were because of that. Hey, that's the. So I'm not gonna defend those moments. Hey,
They happened.
They happened, and I'm like, yo, I was a nonsense guy. Hey, yeah, I think I'm like, yo, and I really was a bit nonsense. Yo. So most of the time there'd be a reason, but my communication was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. No, actually, it was non-existent. Yeah, to actually really put it out there. But yeah, the way she let out the story, that's exactly how it happened. Yeah, we started the numbers thing, and we started chatting every now and then I moved, and then every now and then we chat. But I didn't realize, in hindsight, it's only when I realized actually how much I should talk to her. I was like, I should talk a lot actually. And then the whole traveling thing started happening, and then that very, very, very memorable first trip, yeah, it intrigued me, I was like, okay, I enjoyed her company a lot, on that ride. I didn't feel like, I'm an introvert, so when we talk too much and too long, it drains me. It drains me. Like I literally start getting tired.
Too much conversation.
He just
I can. It's like a
battery flat.
Yeah.
We need to put him in the charger.
Yeah. So that trip didn't do that to me. It was very refreshing and was engaging. So yeah. And then started talking more and traveling more together. Even though I'd make her wait for me, for long hours. How long was it? Originally like an hour.
It was almost an hour.
Yeah. So that day, right? It was Friday, and I had some unexpected work to do, and I just got so consumed and so caught up in work that I forgot to say, hey, listen, I'm running late. Did I forget you? I didn't forget you that day. It was the first time that I did forget. That much I admit. I did forget. I was in such a rush that I forgot that I need to go pick someone up. And remember, I was in Virginia, in Velcom, so I need to go back to Velcom.
Yeah.
How many Ks? Like 15 Ks, huh?
Yeah, about 15, 20. 15, 20. So I just got out of Virginia, Kavaya, and I'm like, man, something is off.
You know?
Yeah, something's off. Oh, flip. Yeah.
So how did you get to now? Okay, I like this girl. I'm gonna start pursuing her. Yes.
Okay. So we were hanging out, or rather, we started traveling together again. So now, be the up and down. The routine was Friday, we come together.
Don't see you the whole weekend.
Don't see you because now.
See you Monday when I come pick you up.
So,
Didn't even see him at church.
Yeah, I saw maybe once or twice actually in all that time.
No, there was that one time.
Yes.
I'm not going to go into that detail, but there was that one time.
Yeah.
And there was another thing that was just like,
Okay. So then we keep doing that. And after a few months, we used to also be involved with Velcom, the church in Velcom.
Church-wise, okay.
No, I stopped going to Bloem because there weren't any things happening anymore. So I was mostly in Velcom over the weekends. That's how that happened.
Yes.
Then I now got involved at CRC Velcom.
Okay.
Yes.
And then during the week, because I wasn't this side, I would go to band that side and be involved there.
And home cell.
And home cell,
Yes.
So I'd give a lift home cell to band. So now the lifting is coming more often.
That time, guys, he stays in Virginia. I stay in Velcom, but he gives me a lift.
Right.
How does it make sense?
Definitely
I should have. But it was just not.
And then eventually it got to a point of hey, can I come get you? Another thing of, can I
Because
get
I
a lift?
used to be like, no,
Oh,
I'll
so this
walk
is
to
you
church.
now.
Hey, now this is me. No, let me come get you.
Yeah.
And this whole time, I'm just thinking, it's just a nice girl. This is a nice girl. And I haven't clicked for her. No, actually, I really like this girl.
So at that time, subconsciously, maybe like you're trying to protect her from being with like
Yeah,
maybe somebody else
I'm
getting
like, I
her,
want to take
like-
care of her subconsciously.
Yeah.
But I just told myself,
Just
like,
want to
nah.
keep her here.
Yeah.
This guy, I want you right here, just in case,
Yeah. So we'd have all of those. Then eventually I'd be like, no man, let me come see you. I want to go visit her. I'd now make random trips to Velcom after work. I never used to do that. Because everything I knew was.
He was running errands.
I was running errands for Velcom.
How's the neighborhood?
Yeah,
Yes.
Guys, I literally pulled that line.
No, that's when that's after you came back from Switzerland.
Yeah.
Like I was in the neighborhood and I thought I must die.
I'm in the neighborhood. And I started doing that more often. And then eventually I was thinking, no, let's just go hang out. Started hanging out. The more we hung out, the more I was thinking, okay, not too shabby, hey? And I was thinking, okay, actually, I really like this girl. And I had a lot of things going on, but this was the one thing that was like, how do I say, quite certain.
Yeah.
Then I was like, man, you know what? Like, I'm another one, man. Yeah, sure. So let's do something about it. Yeah, and then I started becoming intentional. Yeah, I started becoming. Why are you laughing?
I'm wondering if you're going where I think
Yes,
you're
I
going.
am.
Love it.
Yes, I am. I hope I am. But before we got there, look, I'm a guy. So obviously, physical appearance matters. So she used to like wearing baggy clothes. The time she was always wearing baggy clothes. So in all this time, I literally had not seen her like figure out higher sharp. So I was estimating the whole time, and I was like,
Nah,
my name.
I can't date until I don't know. Oh
No, I sleeping, man. Then there was the one time, I'll never forget, I even had the visual stuck in my head.
That time we're going to church.
Yeah, we're going to church,
Hey,
We're
brother.
going to church. And
No, Dad, you must know what's going on here.
very important. That thing is very, very important. That thing is very, very important. People must not be fooled.
Yeah,
That thing is very, very. Christian, not Christian. Actually, okay, but anyway, I was gonna digress. But then I got more that I'm like, oh, and she was wearing, a nice outfit.
No.
What were you wearing?
What happened was,
Okay.
we got out the car and we were walking together. So then suddenly something had to make him stay behind, and that's how I ended up being in the front.
That's what happened.
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's what happened. Yes, because I saw that outfit. I'm like, this needs a bit of further.
I need to
This one is
Yes.
different. This one
some further analysis.
Attention, yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right then. This looks good.
That was a tick.
Yeah, that was a tick. And then I think subconsciously, I see all these things were hindsight. I didn't realize they were happening at the time. So only later when we started talking about them, I'm actually thinking, like, when did things change and all of that? So, but then I think subconsciously it clicked. Well, okay, now you know what? You really like this girl, so do something about it. Yeah, then I was more intentional now in the pursuit, did the whole thing of, getting to know her and wara. Did the whole thing, asked her out officially.
Before that, there was some random dude that I was dating. I thought that's where you were going.
Flip! I forgot about that.
I thought that's where he was going. That's why I was laughing because I
forgot
wonder
about
if
that.
you'll remember this.
No, I don't.
So there's some random dude I was dating. I'm gonna say that because honestly, yes. But we're not gonna go there.
Okay.
So this dude, and every time I'd complain to him, like, yo, this guy, like, oh, this is what happens. He would disappear. Friday is the last time we speak.
As you guys were getting to know each other, got to got
Friends and everything. You know what happened, ne? He left and went to Switzerland. When he came back from Switzerland, I was now in a relationship with some dude. And I remember he was just like, that guy, seriously. And then so I was dating this guy, and every time, like, I'd complain to him, like, no, but, like, is it normal for a guy to be like, Friday, not even Friday night, Friday at 6, he's like, okay, babes, see you, we'll talk on Monday morning. I'm like, is that normal? He's like, that's not normal. And he'd always be advising me, no, I think, what, can't you know, he was just, doing it for himself.
So he would actually say, see you on Monday.
Yeah, see you on Monday.
No
And then Monday he comes back, good morning, babe. Like, no, sir, let's discuss. Where do you come from? But for him, it was, I guess it was normal. And he was in Bloem and I was in Welcome. So I didn't know what he was getting up to. And there were other things as well, obviously. But, like, I was just like, okay, this is not healthy, but whatever. And the way I even got into that relationship was not even a thing of, like, this is someone that I see a future with. It was just a thing of, like, let's dance, let's see, where it goes. And then he asked me out, but it wasn't like, I didn't think it was a date. He was like, let's go watch a movie, Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
It was Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible road movie.
Okay. So we went to go watch this movie. And me, I was like, it's just two friends going to hang out. I mean, we always hang out anything. We are just friends. Yeah. So we go. And so in Welcome, that cinema, Lumetro, it has these seats called the lovers' seats. Oh. He picks those seats. I didn't even see he picked those seats. He picks them. And how they work is they don't have an armchair between. The arm rests between them. So that's why they call them lovers and don't. So I went and so we sat there. And for me, this was, I think...
We're not in the lover season now.
I think for me, that's where it actually clicked that you actually do like this guy. Because I'm very protective of my personal space. So we were sitting now in this seat.
It's like one seat.
Yeah, it's like one seat basically. We're watching this movie. Next thing, my guy does this. And me, I lean in and I'm there. It is very
cliche but slick.
And I love cliches. So, and for me was like, this is my turning point where I'm like, okay, I actually like this guy because I'm allowing him into my personal space. I'm okay with this because I wouldn't normally just be out here. Maybe I even forgot the movie and I was just like, oh my gosh, dreaming. So that's how, for me, it changed everything. And I think that's actually where now he was actually starting to be intentional. Okay, I'm actually going to pursue this girl. And then, should I tell that part where you dropped me off and you're like, don't talk to me again until.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. You can go there.
So so we hang out a lot. Remember, there's still this random dude in the picture.
Yeah.
And honestly, yeah, it wasn't a healthy relationship and all of that.
I didn't understand why.
And he would always be
Yeah.
like, you need to stand up for yourself. I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, I don't like confrontations and blah, blah, blah. And then he was just like, bruh, listen, nah, I do things, with a purpose.
Yeah.
And I have not been hanging out with you just because for the fun of it. I've been hanging out with you because I have an intention.
Sure.
And he's like, I like you. And I am not going to be the other guy.
Yes.
So
Yes, please.
before he's like, so before you text me again, that guy needs to be out of the picture. Otherwise, this is it. We are cutting ties right here and right now. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I just mean that. He's like, obviously I'll text you when I get home just so that you know that I'm safe, I'm home.
Yeah.
But that's it. You're not talking again. And Nyani, as he got home, he texted me, I'm home, see you when the things are done. The following day, I texted him. I'm like, hey, how you doing? He's like, you better be texting me for a good reason. And I was like, yeah,
You
no.
better be on the same page.
I think, but also because I had been praying about, this whole situation where there is this person and then there's this guy who I'm really starting to like. And I was just like, Lord, I don't want to find myself in a bad space.
Yeah.
So I need to make sure that I'm not making a mistake.
Sure.
Either I'm not with any of these guys or I'm with one of them.
The right guy.
And not the right guy at that, Because I remember 4 years before, I had actually made a prayer. I was like, Lord, the next guy I date is my husband.
Sure.
And yet here I am dating this dude for just the sake of, So then I got my confirmation. I was like, so I already knew this is my guy, which is why when he said bye-bye, I was like, hi, Jesus, let me comply.
Yeah.
And I called that guy. He's like, no, I texted him. And I was like, dude, this is the end of the road. Sharp, bye-bye, cutting ties. I was like, what do you mean? And I actually had the courage. I think it was the push that I needed to actually, finally stand up for myself and be brave. And I, like, a whole list of this is what's been happening. I'm basically alone in this relationship, first of all. And this is what's been happening in this relationship. And it's not healthy, And I was like, so I can't stay here.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what? I think what? It's fine. We'll talk tomorrow because clearly there's something happening here. And I was like, dude, what are you at? I've decided. You will not convince me otherwise because this is a move that needs to happen, So then the following day I texted him in the like around 10 or so, I think. And I had just spoken on the phone with the other dude and he was just like, okay, I need you to understand. I know yesterday I just came off like harshly and whatnot, but I thought about it and I do see what you're talking about, but I don't think it's something we could break up over. We can actually work on it. I was like, I don't want to work, I do nothing, bye-bye. Full stop is gone.
We had all the time.
Listen,
to work on whatever.
But like we were in that relationship for like 2 months, 2 or 3 months. So it was not like serious. We were not
hectic.
I wasn't in love or anything like that, So that's why I think it was also quite easy for me to be able to just say bye. Then I texted him and I was like, okay, dude, so here I am, what now? And then we were like, okay, that for that whole month, the month of September, we were like, okay, we are intentionally getting to know each other with the purpose of actually starting a relationship. But before we do, we just need to talk about things, like actually go into deeper things, not like what's your favorite color, but actually, okay, when was your last relationship? When was your last sexual encounter? Those kind of conversations. And we actually went deep with those conversations. And some, I was just like, no, I don't want to tell you that. If I tell you this, you're gone out the door, type of thing. But it was actually very necessary and it helped us to have that foundation of we need to be honest with one another. We need to be open. And he did something that was so amazing that no one has ever done. He asked to speak to my sister and her then husband. He was like, can I please have a meeting with you guys? So I can just have I have to have a discussion with you guys about something. And in that meeting, he said to them, listen, Zandie stays with you guys. Therefore, you are her guardians. And I can't just now just be this random dude
Yeah.
who just takes her and goes,
Yeah.
and the next thing so I need to make sure that I'm doing things right.
Yes,
And
yes,
he
yes,
not necessarily
yes.
was asking their permission, but he was just like, this is my intention, this is what's happening, and I would like to
Don't just be seeing a car moving
you
up
know,
and down.
and they were like, okay, that's fine. Thank you for coming, and they were very appreciative of that.
Yeah.
That was on the 1st of October.
Yeah.
And then on the 3rd of October, we made the relationship official. Yeah. Did I leave anything out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? That's
Yeah.
it.
So that's literally how that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
I want to get into that a little bit. The part of, obviously, you guys now got intentional about building the friendship thing first to get to know each other first and ask each other the hard questions and
Yeah.
have the hard conversations. So, how has that helped you guys post now your marriage, having laid that foundation as having to have those heart to hearts and
Okay.
let's have the tough conversations and let's be honest with each other and let's actually be friends and be okay with us having these conversations and mostly being friends.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think what was good we did was that we were friends first. Like genuinely friends.
Yeah.
Even though there was some yana here and there, but we're like, no, just friends.
Yeah.
Then that was the first proper foundation because that allowed us now to see each other for who we are,
Yeah.
and not as that person I want to be.
Yeah.
That allowed us to be safe and free around each other. And that thing was very important for me because I spent a lot of my time in my younger years always adapting to what I think a certain lady would like.
Sure.
That's
Trying
how
to fit the
yeah,
mold.
try to fit them on like I like that girl, so she likes this kind of guy. I'll be that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And that was it's like hindsight. I didn't realize. I think it was very
Sorry to
strenuous.
disturb you. I'm just thinking now, like, I literally used to be like that as well, and it's the first time that that I realized that. But anyway, as you were saying,
Yeah. Yeah. So in hindsight, we realized all those things, and then so the friendship allowed me to be myself. Yeah, I was fully myself, fully, and that was the first time I was able to be fully myself. Yes.
So it was important for you to feel safe.
Yeah.
Because you said that word safe, safe and comfortable.
Yeah, no, that thing was very, very important, because I'm a very peculiar kind of guy. I come across as one thing, but at home I'm the nerdiest geek, ever. I'm super geek. Yeah, I'm a nerd. Yeah, so I would have to a lot of times hide that part of me, because it's not cool.
Yeah.
You want to be cool,
Yeah.
So her coming along, and I was able to be free with that. That was very important for the foundation.
Yeah.
Then you ask that how did the conversations help us for later as well. So I think that helped us with vulnerability. Yeah, because we were still getting to know each other. However, we were bold enough to say, okay, you know what, let's be vulnerable about and have this conversation.
Yeah.
Because especially for niggas, this conversation is like, she can talk and then I'll be like, talk for 2 seconds, but I had to talk.
Yeah.
I had to talk and say this is A, B, C, and D, and I had to understand my emotions, this is what I feel, and this is what I'm expecting, and so forth. So that was very important because now, going forward, it was very easy for us to be more vulnerable with each other. Throughout the relationship,
Yeah.
it was very easy for us to be like, okay, it's a situation, this and that, because for both of us, a lot of things happening at the time. So yeah, it helped us to be vulnerable, and I think it was a good foundation because even as we got married and all of that, we can talk. Yeah, we can talk. Sit down and talk. Yeah.
I imagine that it even helped so much that when you got to the decision of getting married, you were so sure.
Yeah.
So sure.
100%.
we were sure on the first day we started dating.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
were like, without putting pressure on each other. Yeah, we think of, okay, we know what we want here, and we can see there's fireworks.
Yeah,
So,
come on.
so we know what we want to achieve here, and that was very important because it was an anchor.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people miss an anchor, and but that's another story. But that was an anchor for us.
And you know, like I'm saying, like we were sure from the get-go. What I mean by that was, we didn't go into the relationship thinking, "Mara, I will see where it goes."
Yeah.
Because I said to him, I'm like, "Sir, first of all, I'm not a little girl who's just here to play. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. And I know for sure that I don't want anyone to come and waste my time." And I was like, "I'm giving you 2 years. You know, after 2 years, if there's no direction or where we are going, I'm out. Let's just cut our losses and say, we tried, but it is what it is."
And sorry, it's just the funny thing, before all of that 2 years was within my time frame for when I wanted to be married.
Yeah. He was like, "I know, yeah, no, definitely. I'm on the same page with you on that."
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd feel like, are you just saying that because you want me to say yes to dating you? Gabo, what's going on?
Do you
Because
actually
there's
mean
no
it?
way we are on the same page with everything. But like, guys, literally every single thing we're on the same page about. Like, so before we made the relationship official, we again sat down and had a full-on conversation, an open conversation about, okay, these are my expectations in the relationship. This is what I'm not going to do. This is what I'm willing to do. And this is how I would like for you to be my partner. And this is how I'm going to be a partner to you. You know, and to this day, we are still able to be open about like, okay, I'm not feeling your support in this, or I'm not, I don't feel like you are still, or rather, I don't feel like you're loving me the way you're supposed to be loving me. So we are able to have that conversation because from the get-go, we started the thing of like, we need to be open about everything. If you don't like something, you need to say it. And then like, I'm very like straightforward. I'm just like, listen, brother, I'm not happy when you gotta talk about this right now. To a fault, because there was a time where I would literally start a conversation as we're going to bed, and you just be like, "Yo, bro, I'm tired. I just
This is
wanna-"
not the time.
So like, but it helps us to have such an open, not open relationship, but a relationship that's able to be open in conversation, transparency, and honesty. You know.
I think it's very profound what you guys are saying in terms, because a lot of what I'm hearing from you guys is communication. Communication, what's the other thing I was thinking about? I forgot. But I found a lot of value in communication from you guys, in terms of like what you guys are saying, you know. Of which I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I've never really heard of a couple that are talking about having, I want to say, mastered the art of communication from such an early age. Because for most of us, that's what we tend to struggle with from like the beginning of our relationships going in. I mean, we went through a lot.
You know what I think I like about Zandie and
Another thing was
story
expectations.
Was how, I don't know, but I feel like as Christians we tend to paint this thing, immediately when you meet your person, you'll just like automatically things are just gonna fall into place, and just gonna fall in love. And what I love about your guys' story is how the build up is so realistic. Because you have a lot of people who like are in relationships, but have also 50 points where they're like sure that this is what I wanna. Because of imagine all those not red flags, but all those moments where he kind of let you down and disappointment there, and then you know in that space you didn't know that this was going to be your husband. You know what I'm saying? So I love how realistic it is that you guys got to a point of being intentional after having built a friendship and spending that time together, and you're like, actually this can work.
Certainly,
I love that.
It's amazing.
So in the years that you guys have been married, would you guys say that marriage is not easy? Can we all agree that marriage is not easy?
Marriage is amazing.
Okay, marriage is amazing.
Wait, what did you say?
It's
Marriage is
not
not easy.
Oh, sorry. I heard marriage is good.
It is. You know, marriage is amazing.
Yeah,
Please,
it
sorry,
is.
sorry,
get
sorry,
married.
sorry.
Please,
Yeah,
get
my
married.
bad.
It's
Yeah,
amazing,
but
guys.
it's not
I
easy.
recommend highly.
Please, but there's just a lot of work that needs to be
Yeah.
done.
Absolutely.
Was there ever a time that you guys would say you ever wanted to give up on your marriage?
Or felt like giving up,
Yes.
this thing.
Wait, sorry, can you tell us how long you guys been married as well?
6 years.
6 years.
6 years.
This year. 6 years. 6
Yeah,
years this
6
year.
years.
Yeah, 6 years this year.
Congratulations.
Hey, that's a milestone,
Congratulations.
huh?
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I? Yes. So I wouldn't say that I've ever felt like I want to give up. Ne? But okay, so growing up, ne, let me start it there. Growing up, I grew up with my mom and my dad, and they are married. They were married. They're still married, but their marriage for me was not something I looked up to. I wasn't like, this is it wasn't an example. I was like, this is how I want my marriage to be. My mom has always been a Christian. My dad was more into ancestral worship and whatnot. I mean, he's Xhosa, and that's just how Xhosas are. And not in a bad way or anything, but and they are both very traditional. So they are both set in their ways. There's no way one will change the other or whatever. In as much as they've tried and whatnot, but so for me that was like, nah, this is not what I want. I know there's a marriage out there that I can look up to and be like, this is what I want, but this is not it. And not to say that my parents didn't love each other or anything like that, but I feel like because of those fundamental differences, it made their marriage much more difficult. And our father was, he was a person who drank and all these things, and so he was mostly out there living his life, and my mom was in the house raising us and being with us all the time. So I was just like, I want someone who's present for my kids. And then I remember, fast forward to, I think it was 2010, there was a sermon that was being preached about, and actually I had always loved the story about Isaac and Rebecca in the Bible, yeah? And then there was a sermon that was preached about that, and I was like, yes, this is the kind of marriage I want. That makes sense, And then my sister and her then husband, they got married in 2009, and I remember thinking, I got to see their marriage from like year 1 all the way to I think year 7 or so before they moved to Gauteng. And throughout those stages, they had different phases of the marriage where, okay, now this is what's happening in our lives. Now we are parents. Now we are parents to 2 kids. All those things I got to see. And the way they navigated their marriage, for me, I was like, damn, this is amazing. This makes sense. This is what I want. This is what I want. And they're so open in their communication and all of that. And for me, I was like, yes, this is what I'm gonna look up to. That's like the blueprint of marriage, I mean, yes, the Bible is there. However, I felt like because I wasn't around to actually follow and see, and the Bible doesn't really give us like a full detail on their marriage. But I was like, here it is. I'm seeing it in front of me. This is what I'm gonna, it's what's gonna be my foundation, basically. Then in 2019, yes, 2019, my sister called me and gave me the most devastating news, saying that she and the husband are separating and getting a divorce. And that for me, it broke me. I didn't realize it at the time, but it broke me to a point where I was basically now bringing that into our marriage. And I was like, I don't want to find myself in that spot. I don't want to, how do I make sure that we don't get to that place? Oh my goodness, what do I do? And the fears that I had in my mind started causing some problems here, And I remember I didn't know how to get out of it. I was just like, it's just in my head. I don't know how to get out of it because this was what I thought marriage was. And now that it's gone, what do I have left? And in a way, I feel like it was just also God trying to bring me back into your foundation should not be a human being. Your foundation should be my word. And so I had to now bring myself back into, this is what the foundation is. This is where the blueprint is. You find it in the Bible, not on man. I mean, you can see us posting things on Instagram and whatnot, but you don't know what happens behind closed doors, So that time, then we went straight into lockdown after that. And it just magnified things more. And I started seeing there's so many things that I have taken from what my sister has told me and, every now and again sharing with me. And I've made it sort of reality. I've made it my reality. That makes it like, I made it my reality. And I started now putting things on him that were not him. And I was like, how like I don't know how I navigate out of this. What's gonna happen? Will we make it? If they didn't make it, what about us?
Yeah.
I mean, we are like what
3 years.
2 years married, and I'm just like, yo, we are only 2 years. These people were married for like 10 years.
Sure.
How are we going to survive?
Get
You
out
know?
of this
In as
situation.
much as we got into marriage and we were like, divorce is not a thing for us, but that for me put me in a place where I basically I would say, I put this in danger, you know, because of how I was putting that, what was happening out there on him. And I remember I had to sit down with him and say, hey, listen, so what my sister's been telling me, what she's been sharing with me, confiding in me and all, I've realized that I've actually put it on you. I've made it seem like this is happening, like you are the one who's doing this, and I'm also now doing something, you know, and I don't want to find myself in this space. And he was like, yeah, you know, I've actually realized, I've seen in the past few months that it has kind of been like, what's going on, you know? And I genuinely did not know how to get out of it. But he was so supportive, and he was just like, I understand, because it is what was modeled to you, and this is what you saw in the first place, which is, this is what marriage is, you know? And he helped me like come out of it. And that for me, what I think I would say, that was the one time where I was like, are we gonna make it?
Yeah.
You know, but I've never actually, honestly speaking, I've never been like, yo,
Maybe we shouldn't have done this.
you know, we
Yeah.
shouldn't have done this. I mean, obviously there are those moments where you're just like, oh, this guy, I want to
Yeah.
punch you in the face
Yeah.
right now. But I've never had that thing of,
Doubted.
I don't
that
think
you
this
guys
was the
were-
right decision, or I don't think you are the one,
Yeah.
or that we are not going to make it, you know. I'm not think we're going to make it, but like, I think we should just give up on this marriage. But it was more a thing of, are we going to make it? But I just allowed fears to put me in that space of, are we even going to make it? And cause such weird friction that was unnecessary, you know. But the lockdown also came a good time, because it helped me to actually be able to see and realize this is where I'm at.
Introspect, yeah.
And it allowed me also to be vulnerable with him and tell him, listen, this is what's been happening in my head. I mean, it's not a comfortable thing to come to your husband and say, yo, my guy, like, yeah, I've been thinking things about you, and I've just been, you know, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But because, like we said earlier, it's a foundation that we had for ourselves, that you need to be open, you need to, you know, so that you can be able to fix things before they get to a bad place, you know. So for me, I would say that was the one time where I felt like, yo,
It's rocky now.
it's rocky,
Hey,
you know,
rocky.
what happens now,
Yeah.
you know. But he was very supportive in that, and he was so understanding, because also I'm very close with my siblings, you know. So it was like what was happening to her was happening to me, you know. So he understood that, but he also helped me to get out of it, you know. So that was the only time for me. I don't know about you.
The beauty of building.
Amen.
Yo, the beauty
Amen.
of building. Like, that's all I'm hearing the entire time you guys say anything. Just like the fact that you built that foundation and got to know each other and built that friendship now allows you to say, bro, this is like what I've been going through, and him understanding enough to say, okay,
Beautiful,
I know
man.
what Zandie siblings are high, and I understand where it's all coming from. You know?
Yeah.
So I was saying, I admire how much you guys, like the essence of what you guys talk about is communication, and what that question actually was how to get out of the bad spaces. And it's really just an amazing thing to hear that most of what you guys talk about is communication, and, you know, let's talk about this thing and get to the crux of this thing, you know. Here's another thing that I admire about you guys. You guys strike me as the kind of people that don't really live from pressures of society, you know, to say, look at these ones, they're living like this couple, look at these ones, they have this couple, look at what people are doing. And for me, that's more like a superpower to have, you know, because being, what's the word I'm looking for?
Influenced.
Being comfortable, being content. Yes. Being like contentment is such a superpower that I think really a lot of people miss that, you know, to say there's so much power in just being yourself and living according to your own plans and your own strategies, and just what am I doing here and how's this thing going to work for me, you know, considering my personality, where I am in life, and, you know, all these kind of things. And I think you guys, and this is just my opinion, I'm not sure, It's just an observation that I've had. You guys are so mature, man. Like on so many levels. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, so let's talk about you guys being parents now.
Baby Zoe came into the picture.
Yeah.
The most beautiful baby in the world, just by the way. She is just. Also, they have an Instagram page, you guys. Captured in
Yes,
Love.
yes,
Please go follow
yes,
them
yes.
on social. You will see a lot of Zoe on the page. Zoe's just.
Amazing baby girl.
Yes. Did you guys plan it? Did you feel ready to have a baby? You were like, this is time.
Why did you guys wait also for so long? Because you guys like waited for like a couple of years.
Yeah. Were you guys ready? Was it time? Yeah. Please take us through that process.
You wanna, or should I? You take it.
Yeah. I'll start. Yeah, it was planned, and yeah, we were ready because was the first 2 years of our marriage. There was a lot of shifting parts, there was a lot of moving parts. Work, where I'm staying, school, those kind of things that were, and we decided, okay, we'll only start expanding our family at this time. And then when that time came, okay, let's start preparing now to expand our family. And she came along and rocked our world.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Zoe came, boom. And the first, I'd say 3 months, we were still adjusting to parenting and to being a married couple, because those are not separate, but they are not the same thing, you know. And finding our footing in being able to still be us, but also be a parent. I mean, be parents to Zoe was
Rather interesting.
it was
Yeah.
a journey. Okay.
Yeah.
But we're still very intentional on. We must not forget that, you know, there's a Phenyo, there's a Zandie before there's a Zoe, you know. And in the first few months of her life, there were a lot of things happening, you know, and they were causing us to kind of forget that there's a Zandie and a Phenyo. And we're more focused on her, and everything was just about Zoe, you know. Zoe needs this, Zoe needs that. We need to make sure this and this for Zoe. We need to what button for Zoe, you know. For me, I don't know about you, but for me, it literally became about like, okay, we are raising this human. This is what we need to focus on, you know. But I think after like almost 6 months or so, then I had to like quickly step out of that routine. Yeah, and then I had to remember that your husband comes first. And that's a very controversial thing to say, because a lot of people are like, you can't put your husband before your child. But yes, I can, because your child got here and your partner was already there. And then when your child now goes to varsity, gets their own life, you're left with your partner. So now if you have focused so much on your children, raising the children, all about the children, because as humans we evolve, we change. All those changes are happening to him, all those changes are happening to me.
Yeah.
Now that the kids are out of the house, we don't know each other anymore. And that's why you find people who have been married for like 40 years and whatnot end up being divorced, because they ended up making their marriage about the children. Now the children are out and it's us now, and I'm living with a stranger in my house and I don't know what to do. Then you go meet some other person there out there and it's like, oh, actually, this person doesn't appreciate me anymore. And no, it's not that they don't appreciate you. You've changed over the years, but you guys were not there together. You were not growing together. So I had to remember that, and it helped me be like, okay, how do I now navigate back to husband, child, not child, husband. But in between all of that, there were so many things that were happening, not just with our daughter, but with me as well. My health, there were so many things that were just happening that it kind of made me like be relaxed. Because then he took over everything. He was just doing everything in the house and all of these things. And he was growing tired, but I wasn't realizing it because, I mean, I'm trying to recover and be healthy and all these things. And we had to sit down. We had to sit down and we talked about it. And, he was just like, yeah, no, I mean, I understand you need to heal and all of these things and whatnot. And that this is what I'm feeling right now. This is what's happening right now. But I'm not trying to burden you with it. I'm not trying to now make you feel like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing or whatever. But that also was a wake-up call for me that, okay, Zandie, yes, in as much as you are healing and all these things, but you need to remember that you have a partner. You have a husband. Focus on him as well, not just on yourself. Because healing and all these things, they do kind of make you become a little bit selfish because you're like, but I'm healing, so you can't expect me to be out here cleaning and cooking and all these things. But like going back to what we've been saying, Uti, communication, that open communication helped to get ourselves in a place where he's able to come to me and say, listen, this is what's happening. I know this is where you are. However, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's happening. So let's try and see how we can navigate and come back to a place where we are both happy with what's happening right now. And since then, we've always been like, okay, let's sit down and evaluate. How do we now, okay, so this is how you're feeling, this is how I'm feeling. How do I work in such a way that you are feeling, you feel that you are being filled, your love tank is being filled, my love tank is being filled, without making the other feel like, okay, but like, why are you burdening me with, making you feel whatever, So I think that also the communication and all of that helped also to be able to now navigate and be in a place of, okay, I understand I'm a mother, but I'm also a wife. And I'd like to think I'm doing great. I'd like to think I'm doing well. You're now
always
in that.
Doing well.
No.
Right answer. Right answer. There's only one answer. Only one answer.
Yeah, but I think from my side, that's what has helped me to now be in a place of, I mean, I don't 100% have it, but I think that I'm getting there, and I am able to be Zoe's mom, but I'm also able to be Phenyo's wife, Yeah.
Yeah. So on my side there, how I found it to be was a big change, was a big transition. Like what she's saying is true. So I decided when we conceived and we were pregnant, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the best supportive husband, from the beginning. I want just make sure it's soft life, all the way. But the mistake in doing that is that I wasn't communicating when I was feeling like it's a lot now. I just suck it up, because she's bringing a baby into the world.
Yeah.
And then it continues, the baby arrived, baby's growing, all these other things are happening. I'm just sucking it up. But now, in sucking it up, now I'm starting to weigh down. Now it's not helping anybody. Until eventually I was like, no, I gotta talk about this. Because if I don't talk about it, it's not gonna end well, And because we hear a lot and they tell us a lot about how a baby changes everything. So I won't lie, there was a point I was scared. I was like, oh flip, is this gonna happen to us too? Because there's just so many things that are changing and we're not managing them. Yeah, we're not managing them, you see. So all along since we got married, or rather maybe just after we got married, we started doing feedback sessions every few months with each other. We sit down and, okay, in the past few months, is there something that I've done that maybe we haven't spoken about? How can I love you better? How can I do this better for you? Just give each other kind of feedback. We should do that regularly, before pregnancy. And that was helping us, growing and all of that. Pregnancy came, baby came, that thing just took like it just went off. We forgot about that, And that was not, we shouldn't have done that. We should have continued that because actually we needed it then during pregnancy more than ever before. But then that's why we neglected that, and then it allowed things to get into a place where it was like really like hectic. And as soon as we started talking again, then started getting better. You know? So yeah, that thing is very, very important. That's why I was saying she came and she rocked our world.
Really rocked it.
Yeah. But I think finding our feet, if not found our feet. But yeah, things are
A lot better than
We are
before.
navigating better
navigating
now.
better.
Yeah.
Navigating better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for today.
Yeah, man. I feel like marriage is just a constant learning.
Yeah.
Every phase of any relationship, from dating into getting married, into being parents, into
Yeah.
having a second child, into it's just a constant learning. And thank you so much, Phenyo and Zandie, for joining us today. Like, I had so much fun in this conversation. I don't think I've laughed like this in a long time.
I speak to you, but I am fine.
Hey,
She got that
You're the
right.
funny
tell her
one.
how funny I am, though. Maybe you're going to do this to in front of the people.
Baby, you think you're funny.
It's
I always tell
fine.
you
It's
that.
fine. It's fine, baby. You know what? It's fine.
You think you're funny, but it's
But I
fine.
am.
It's,
You know they used to call me Trevor Noah for real.
Zakuma
I don't know. I choose to reserve my comment. But anyway, yes, thank you guys for joining us on this video. And we will see you guys on the next one.
I want to say. I want to say thank you guys for alluding so much to the value of communication, because for me personally, like, it's a constant learning process for me of learning how to communicate better, communicating with my wife better, understanding my wife better, and I feel like you guys spoke to a lot of that, so yeah, that really encourages me and inspires me as well, to really be seeing people in our age group, doing it right is what I want to say, so yeah, shout out to you guys for that, man, and continue being great.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you
for having us.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. You're opening a YouTube channel?
Please, come now.
We do have one, but we're not using it.
Come on, guys.
Use it. Please use it. Like, honestly, why?
Yeah, it's me actually.
Pray about it.
Yeah.
You'll see them on
Pray for
YouTube
him.
soon, guys. Pray about it. They'll be on YouTube soon.
Definitely. So please follow Phenyo and Zandie and their joint channel. What is it? Account
On Instagram.
on Instagram. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next
next
Heart to Heart.
Yes.
All right.
Bye, guys.